lost, alone, cast off and abandoned in a strange world. You find yourself in an unfamiliar environment, surrounded by ancient machines and unknown dangers. You are but a single individual, without memory but not without past. You must struggle to find your place in the world and uncover the secrets of your creation before unstoppable alien forces eliminate you without mercy. Will you save the world? Will you save yourself? Or will you be swallowed whole like a grain of sand beneath the unflinching tides? Torment, Tides of Numenera, is a RPG set in the fantastical world of Numenera. A setting where after a series of apocalypses, the Earth has been almost entirely remade, and is now home to all manner of humans, mutants, and aliens who have rebuilt civilization on the sci-fi and magical remnants of the previous ages. At the start of the game, you learn that you are a kind of artificial human created by a powerful warlord scientist, and that there is a dangerous monster hunting you down, intent on your complete destruction. After picking your class and starting abilities, you set out into the world on a quest to discover the truth of your origin and whether your grisly fate can be avoided. Now, the game plays as a top-down isometric RPG. As you explore various maps, you'll have the opportunity to interact with characters and objects in the environment. This will allow you to learn more about the world around you and take on quests or objectives in order to accomplish your goals. Completing these quests will reward you with items and experience. Items can be equipped or sold in order to outfit your character with new weapons and armor, while experience will allow you to level up and either unlock new abilities or improve existing skills. Now, eventually your character will get into danger, possibly facing down hostile robots or bandits or something else. And at these points, when combat breaks out, the game switches over into turn-based mode, during which you, your allied party members, and any enemies will take turns moving around the map and attacking each other. Depending upon your class and your upgrades, you'll be able to use various weapons, special abilities, and special one-time use items such as potions and grenades.
Not making a dent over here.
Now, while most of this is fairly familiar, there are a couple things which are unique to Tides of Numenera. For instance, the turn-based system is not exclusive to combat. As mentioned before, when a fight breaks out, the game switches over to this turn-based system, but it's also used for more esoteric encounters. As you progress, you'll also find that this turn-based approach is also used during potential stealth situations and during moments when your goals may be time-sensitive. Another thing that you'll discover fairly early on is how Tides of Numenera uses a kind of universal skill system for all instances where success or failure is determined by your attributes. How it works is that every character has a selection of skills which can be gained or improved as they level up. These skills determine your basic competency and the probability that you will succeed in any given task. However, you also have skill points, and these can be spent on the check in order to improve your chances, even increasing it all the way up to 100% and a guaranteed success. Now, you have three basic pools: might, speed, and intellect, and you can draw from them in pretty much every available situation. For instance, during dialogue, you may be given the opportunity to perform an intelligence check, either to persuade somebody to do something for you, or when using lore to learn more about them and the area. Another example might be that you find a locked door and want to break it down. So you spend points from your might pool in order to increase your skill check and improve the odds that you'll be able to smash it open. But again, this is a universal system, and it's not just during dialogue interactions that you'll have the opportunity to spend skill points in order to improve your chances. You'll also be using your skill points during combat, where in these instances you'll have the opportunity to spend might points to increase your accuracy with a physical attack, or spend intelligence points to increase your damage with a magical attack. Now, once you rest, all your points will be restored, but you have to be careful. If you sleep too often, time will pass and some of your quests may automatically advance. This system is actually one of the better points of the game. It's easy to understand, with a very clear meter showing how likely you are to succeed and fail, and it makes it simple to build characters that specialize in particular skills or skill trees. Also, any member of your party can use their skills during dialogue segments, so even if you've spec'd as a meaty frontline fighter, you can have someone else take over during diplomatic segments, without any untoward penalties. But probably the biggest draw of Torment is the narrative. This is a classic Western RPG, so a strong story with dozens of major and minor quests is to be expected. And the game, to its credit, does deliver. The setting is incredibly diverse and draws from a wide range of inspirations. And this means that there's a huge variety of characters, locations, and challenges to encounter, each one with its own special complications. At one point, you might be fighting gang members and stopping crime in the slums of a major city, and then at another point, you'll be conversing with ancient aliens aboard their starbase in a remote section of the galaxy. But what's really impressive about Tides of Numenera is how robust your choices are for dealing with your problems. This is a game where almost every quest has multiple different solutions. Whether you want to be violent, whether you want to be diplomatic, whether you want to be compassionate, whether you just want to be expedient. And your choices have consequences. As a testament to this, even failures, just totally botching a skill check, can produce new and interesting results. A number of your choices will have long-term or unintended side effects, and so choosing how to solve your problems and interact with people can have long-lasting rewards or eventual punishments. Now, while the positive of Torment Tides of Numenera are many, great presentation, strong story, fascinating setting, I do have to admit that some of the game's systems result in possibly unintended after effects. For instance, even though the narrative allows for an environment where defeating your enemies to get what you want is a regular choice, as it turns out, fighting and combat in general is usually the least interesting option. And because of the universal skill system, it's also the least efficient one as well. Your characters will start the game with only a couple of basic combat abilities, and you need to wait for major experience milestones before they can level up and learn just a couple more. And on top of that, engaging in combat means spending a lot more resources. Remember that during combat, you use skill points in order to increase your accuracy and damage. So, over the course of a couple rounds of combat, you can either spend a dozen points or more, or before combat begins, perhaps just use 2 or 3 to diplomatize or intimidate your enemies away. But really, a more pressing criticism, and I will admit that this might just be personal understanding, is that the setting is almost too broad. And what I mean by this is that there's a lot going on in Tides of Numenera. Perhaps too much, even. This is a game that is drawn from a vast variety of sources in order to create a game where each new location is different than the one that came before. And this means that every time you enter a new area, you have to refresh your information, because nothing carries over. In one area, you might be dealing with a fairly familiar feudal society of guards and merchants and townspeople. But in the next area, you're going to be dealing with mutants, or aliens, or extra-dimensional robots, or time travelers, or crystalline computers, or who knows what else. And I mean, every one of them is going to have their own wants and desires and society and culture and backstory, and it's going to take pages of dialogue to figure out where you stand and how you're supposed to proceed. And I want to stress, this is not a complaint, but it is a pertinent observation, as involving yourself in this game's story is going to take a lot more time and effort than you might expect. Still, I got to admit, the game is a heck of a ride. Classic RPG mechanics in a crazily elaborate setting. I would give it 3 out of 4 stars, and my strong recommendation. If you're looking for an RPG that just throws you in the deep end of an unnecessarily elaborate setting, then yeah, Torment Tides of Numenera is definitely one you want to sign up for. Just keep in mind the game has a pretty steady learning curve, so if you're looking for a more relaxing RPG, this ain't it. Okay then, thanks for coming by again. Till next time.